The Galactic War had raged for decades, leaving a trail of devastation across countless star systems. Among humanity's champions, Commander Dain Kael stood as a symbol of hope and resilience. His victories were numerous, but his latest triumph, liberating the Althari system from the oppressive grip of the Xenorian Dominion, was a turning point in the conflict. When the dust settled, Dain and his crew discovered the spoils of war, hundreds of enslaved beings, including a group of Althari women. Known for their striking beauty, psychic talents, and unbreakable spirit, the Althari had been subjugated by the Dominion for generations. The Terran High Council, eager to reward Dain for his heroism, declared the women his property under the ancient codes of war. To them, it was a simple transaction, a reward for a loyal warrior. To Dain, it was an affront to everything he stood for. When the Althari were brought aboard his flagship, Dain met their leader, a woman named Seris Veyana. Her emerald skin shimmered faintly under the harsh lights of the docking bay, her silver hair cascading like liquid light. Violet eyes filled with fury and pride met his, and for a moment, the battle-hardened commander felt exposed, as if she were dissecting his very soul. "You believe you own us now?" she asked, her voice calm yet sharp. Dain held her gaze. "No one owns you. You're free." Seris tilted her head, skeptical. "Words are cheap, Terran. Prove it." Dain declared to his crew that the Althari were no longer slaves but guests. He assigned quarters, ensured they were given supplies and medical care, and informed them they could leave at the next neutral system. His crew was divided. Some questioned his decision, others silently approved, but Dain's word was final. The Althari, though freed in name, remained wary. Trust was not easily given after years of subjugation. They kept to themselves, their psychic gifts shielding their thoughts from prying minds. Seris, however, watched Dain closely. She saw his struggle, not with them, but with the weight of his decisions, the burdens of war, and the countless lives lost under his command. Dain sought to bridge the gap between them. He shared humanity's history of oppression and rebellion, their fight for freedom in ages past. In return, Seris spoke of the Althari's culture, their philosophies, and their belief in unity through shared purpose. Slowly, the barriers between them began to erode. As trust grew, Seris offered Dain something unexpected, her knowledge of the Dominion strategies. With her insights, Dain's forces struck at critical targets, liberating more systems and turning the tide of the war. The Althari, once hesitant, began to see Dain as more than a conqueror. Through countless battles, Dain and Seris formed a bond deeper than mere alliance. They found solace in one another, a shared determination to end the war and a growing affection that neither had anticipated. Their connection was not without challenges. Both faced prejudice from their own people, whispers of betrayal and impropriety. Yet they stood firm, united in purpose and in heart. As the war neared its end, Seris proposed a daring plan. Together, they would form a coalition of liberated beings, humans, Althari, and others rescued from the Dominion's grasp. This new alliance, built on trust and shared sacrifice, would not only fight to end the war but also ensure that freedom endured. The coalition's efforts were transformative. Their combined strength shattered the Dominion's remaining forces, liberating entire star systems. When the final Dominion stronghold fell, the galaxy erupted in celebration. Dain was hailed as a hero, yet he refused accolades and political titles. Instead, he chose to lead the coalition alongside Seris, dedicating their lives to rebuilding what had been destroyed. Their love, once a whispered rumor, became a beacon of hope, proof that unity could overcome division, and that even in the darkest of times, compassion and understanding could prevail. Their story became legend, told across the stars as a testament to the power of freedom, love, and the unyielding spirit of those who refused to be broken. In the years that followed the war, the galaxy was not without its challenges. The Dominion's collapse left power vacuums, rogue warlords, and remnants of its oppressive regime scattered across countless systems. Dain and Seris, now the leaders of the Vanguard of Unity, became symbols of peace and restoration, but their work was far from finished. The coalition they had built evolved into a new kind of alliance, one not defined by species or borders, but by a shared vision of freedom and mutual respect. Former slaves, mercenaries, and soldiers from every corner of the galaxy pledged their allegiance, inspired by the ideals of the Vanguard. They became a peacekeeping force, intervening wherever oppression threatened to rise again. Dain found himself navigating a new battlefield: politics. The Terran High Council, though grateful for his service, was uneasy with the Vanguard's growing influence. Some accused him of abandoning humanity's interests in favor of a galaxy-wide agenda. Others feared the Vanguard's military strength, seeing it as a potential threat to their fragile grasp on power. Seris, with her sharp mind and natural charisma, became Dain's closest advisor and ally in these diplomatic struggles. Together, they brokered treaties and mediated disputes, walking a fine line between maintaining the Vanguard's independence and reassuring the wary powers of the galaxy. Despite their successes, tensions persisted. Rogue factions of Dominion loyalists began launching guerrilla attacks, targeting liberated systems and attempting to sow chaos. One such attack struck the Althari homeworld, a devastating reminder of the galaxy's fragility. Seris led the charge to defend her people, her psychic powers amplifying the efforts of the Vanguard forces. Dain fought by her side, their bond unshaken even in the face of overwhelming odds. The battle was fierce, but the Vanguard prevailed, driving the remnants of the Dominion into the shadows. The aftermath of the attack brought a renewed sense of purpose. Seris proposed a bold initiative, a galactic charter that would outlaw slavery and establish rights for all sentient beings. The proposal was met with resistance from various factions, but Dain stood beside her, using his influence and reputation to rally support. The journey to ratify the charter was fraught with setbacks. Old prejudices flared, and powerful entities who had profited from the Dominion's reign opposed the idea. Yet, through relentless diplomacy and the Vanguard's growing power, the charter eventually gained enough backing to become law. As the galaxy began to heal, Dain and Seris found moments of peace amidst the chaos. They spent time on the Althari homeworld, now a symbol of resilience and renewal, as well as on Terra, where Dain introduced Seris to humanity's art, history, and culture. Their love, forged in the crucible of war, grew stronger with each passing year. They became not just leaders, but symbols of hope, proof that even in the face of unimaginable loss and hardship, a better future could be built through courage and understanding. Decades later, as they looked out over the bustling starscape of a united galaxy, they reflected on the path that had brought them here. The scars of war would never fully fade, but they had left a legacy that would endure for generations, a galaxy where freedom, though hard-won, was cherished and protected by all who called it home. Their story was written into the annals of history, a reminder that even the smallest act of compassion could ripple across the stars and that, together, even the most divided peoples could forge a brighter tomorrow. As the years turned into decades, the galaxy saw the fruits of Dain and Seris's efforts bloom in ways neither could have anticipated. The Galactic Unity Charter became more than just a declaration. It was a framework that inspired generations to embrace cooperation. Though challenges persisted, the foundation laid by the Vanguard of Unity created a galaxy where conflict was increasingly resolved through dialogue rather than war. Dain and Seris, though aging, remained at the forefront of these efforts. Their leadership evolved from warriors to diplomats, guiding the Vanguard in times of peace. They spent their days traveling between star systems, mediating disputes, addressing the needs of liberated worlds, and expanding the coalition to include species and civilizations that had remained neutral or isolated during the war. Among these newly discovered worlds were remnants of lost civilizations, some ancient and advanced, whose knowledge enriched the collective wisdom of the galaxy. Seris, with her keen intellect and psychic abilities, became an ambassador to these societies, often bridging gaps where language and culture seemed insurmountable. One of their greatest challenges came in the form of the Dominion Remnant, a scattered but determined faction of old loyalists who sought to rebuild their empire in secret. The Vanguard uncovered evidence of a hidden stronghold in the far reaches of the galaxy, where Dominion scientists had been experimenting with forbidden technology. Dain and Seris knew this could not be ignored. Despite their advanced age, they chose to lead the mission personally. The Vanguard mobilized its fleet for one final campaign, determined to end the Dominion's threat once and for all. The battle that ensued was unlike any the galaxy had seen. The Dominion's forbidden technologies unleashed horrors that tested the resolve of even the most seasoned warriors. But the Vanguard's unity, its diverse coalition of species and talents, proved unstoppable. The stronghold was destroyed, and the remnants of the Dominion were scattered for good. The victory came at a cost. Dain, injured in the final battle, returned to the Vanguard's flagship with Seris at his side. As they gazed out at the stars from the observation deck, He took her hand and smiled, his voice steady despite his exhaustion. "We did it," he said. "The galaxy is free." Seris's eyes glistened with unspoken emotion. "Because of you," she replied. "Because you believed it could be." In the years that followed, Dain stepped back from leadership, passing the mantle to a new generation of Vanguard commanders. Seris, too, began training young Althari in the ways of diplomacy and psychic discipline, ensuring her people would continue to play a vital role in the galaxy's future. Their twilight years were spent on a serene world at the edge of the galaxy, a place untouched by war, where the skies shimmered with cascading auroras. There they chronicled their journey together, recording the history of the Galactic Unity Charter, the Vanguard's rise, and the personal story of how a human warrior and an alien leader forged a bond that changed the stars. Their story, told across the galaxy, became a source of inspiration for countless generations. Statues of Dain and Seris stood in the halls of the Galactic Assembly, their figures depicted not as conquerors, but as symbols of unity, courage, and love. When their time finally came, they departed this life together, their legacy etched into the very fabric of the galaxy. Their names were whispered in reverence, not as legends of war, but as harbingers of peace, proof that even amidst the darkest conflicts, the light of hope and the bonds of compassion could prevail. The galaxy they left behind was not perfect, but it was far brighter than the one they had inherited, a testament to the power of their unwavering vision. For in every corner of the stars, where once there had been chains and strife, now there was freedom, and that, above all, was their greatest victory. Though Dain and Seris had passed, their legacy continued to resonate across the galaxy. The Vanguard of Unity, now a permanent and self-sustaining organization, evolved beyond its origins as a coalition of former slaves and wartime allies. It became a beacon of galactic cooperation, mediating disputes, defending vulnerable worlds, and fostering collaboration between civilizations that had once viewed one another with suspicion or hostility. The Galactic Unity Charter, which had been the foundation of Dain and Seris's vision, continued to expand. New articles were added over the decades, addressing emerging challenges: ecological restoration of war-torn planets, regulation of advanced technologies, and safeguarding the rights of newly discovered sentient species. The Charter's principles became a guiding light, shaping the policies of even the most reluctant governments. Among the countless worlds touched by Dain and Seris's story was Althari, the homeworld of Seris. No longer a symbol of oppression, it had blossomed into a hub of art, philosophy, and science. The Althari people became renowned for their contributions to galactic culture, particularly in the fields of psychic exploration and interspecies diplomacy. Terran influence also grew, but not as conquerors or rulers. Inspired by Dain's legacy, humanity embraced a role as partners and collaborators, fostering innovation and exploration. The Terran High Council, once skeptical of the Vanguard, now worked alongside it, recognizing the profound benefits of unity. The Dominion, though defeated, left scars that would take generations to heal. Small, isolated cells of Dominion loyalists still clung to their ideology, engaging in sporadic acts of terrorism. These remnants, while dangerous, were no longer the existential threat they had once been. The Vanguard and its allies hunted them down with precision, ensuring their influence continued to wane. The Dominion's collapse also unearthed mysteries about its past. Archives recovered from Dominion strongholds revealed hints of an ancient progenitor race, beings who had once ruled vast portions of the galaxy long before the rise of the Dominion or humanity. Artifacts and ruins scattered across the galaxy hinted at advanced technology and knowledge that had been lost to time. These discoveries sparked a new era of exploration. Young members of the Vanguard, inspired by the stories of Dain and Seris, ventured into uncharted regions of the galaxy, seeking to uncover the secrets of this forgotten civilization. Their journeys were not without peril. Ancient traps, unstable relics, and rival explorers made every mission a challenge, but the pursuit of knowledge became a unifying goal for the galaxy. Centuries after Dain and Seris's passing, a new generation of leaders emerged, their ideals shaped by the stories of the past. Statues and monuments dedicated to Dain and Seris adorned countless worlds, their likenesses standing as reminders of what could be achieved through courage and unity. On Terra, a grand museum was established in their honor, chronicling their lives, the war they fought, and the peace they helped build. Their story became a cornerstone of galactic identity, taught in schools and retold in every form of art. Plays, songs, and holographic dramas celebrated the human warrior and the alien leader whose bond had transcended species and war. Even as the galaxy continued to evolve, new challenges arose. A growing coalition of worlds questioned whether the Galactic Unity Charter could keep pace with an increasingly interconnected galaxy. Debates erupted over issues such as artificial intelligence, the rights of non-organic beings, and the ethical use of bioengineering. Through it all, the teachings of Dain and Seris endured. Their belief in dialogue over conflict, in compassion over fear, guided the galaxy's leaders as they navigated the complexities of their time. On a quiet, distant world, far from the bustling centers of galactic power, a small shrine stood at the edge of a serene lake. Inscribed on its surface were words attributed to Dain. Freedom is not given, it is fought for, nurtured, and defended by every generation. Let no one forget the cost of chains, nor the boundless beauty of a galaxy unshackled. It was said that every year, on the anniversary of the Dominion's fall, visitors from across the galaxy would gather at the shrine. Althari, Terrans, and countless other species came not to mourn, but to celebrate, to honor the legacy of two souls who had dared to dream of a better galaxy, and who had fought to make that dream a reality. And so, the stars shone brighter, their light a testament to the enduring legacy of love, courage, and unity that Dain and Seris had left behind. As centuries turned into millennia, the galaxy transformed into a tapestry of interconnected civilizations bound by the enduring principles of the Galactic Unity Charter. The Vanguard of Unity, now a revered institution, evolved into more than a peacekeeping force. It became a council of mentors and explorers, devoted to guiding younger civilizations, preserving knowledge, and ensuring that history's darker chapters were never repeated. The shrine to Dain and Seris at the edge of the serene lake became a place of pilgrimage for countless species. Over time, it grew into a sprawling cultural and spiritual center. People from all walks of life gathered there to learn, reflect, and celebrate the ideals that had united the galaxy. Exploration into the mysteries of the ancient progenitor race yielded astonishing discoveries. Their technology was eventually understood, not as weapons of war but as tools for creation and harmony. Vast terraforming engines, dormant for millions of years, were reactivated, turning barren worlds into lush paradises. The galaxy entered a golden age of renewal, with species once isolated by distance and scarcity now thriving together in abundance. The stories of Dain and Seris continued to inspire. Their lives became symbols not only of unity but also of the belief that love, even in the face of impossible odds, could bridge any divide. Artists painted their likenesses, poets sang of their courage, and philosophers debated the finer points of their decisions, ensuring their legacy endured not just as myth but as a living philosophy. But all eras, even golden ones, faced their twilight. In the distant future, as the galaxy reached the limits of its expansion and the stars themselves began to dim, the peoples of the galaxy turned inward, preparing for the long, quiet journey into the unknown. In one final act of unity, the Vanguard and its allies pooled their knowledge to create a vast archive, a repository of all galactic history, culture, and knowledge. This archive, a collaborative effort by every civilization, was placed on a single planet, surrounded by an artificial ring of light powered by the last remnants of the progenitor's technology. The planet was named Seris Veyana, in honor of the two who had lit the first spark of unity among the stars. When the work was complete, the galaxy gathered one last time. Representatives from every species traveled to Seris Veyana, where they stood under the artificial light of the ring and shared their final words. It was not a farewell but a celebration, a recognition that though the stars might fade, their legacy would endure. As the last ship departed Seris Veyana, the ring shone brighter than ever, casting its glow across the galaxy. Even in the furthest reaches of space, its light was visible, a beacon of hope, a reminder of what had been achieved. And so, the galaxy fell into its quiet slumber, but the story of Dain and Seris continued to echo through the ages. It lived in the archives, in the memories of those who came after, and in the very fabric of the stars they had fought to protect. It was a story not just of war and peace, but of the boundless potential of beings who chose compassion over conflict, and love over fear. It was a story that whispered a simple truth. No matter how vast the void, no matter how dark the night, unity could always light the way.